Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to share what we're doing at Toivoa, a Delaware company, which is focused on the health disparities around mental health and assuring that we have access for all people with mental health. My journey started really quickly with in a personal experience. My daughter during COVID had previously, as a young child, been diagnosed with bilateral sensorineural hearing loss. But in 2020, she was headed to University of Michigan. And unfortunately, when the masks went on, even though I had clear masks given to the professors, unfortunately, the masks were not taken to the classroom, and she could not read lips and she could not hear clear sound. So here she was, a freshman, first year of college, really stressed out, and called me and said, "Mom, I need to be able to see a therapist." And what happened at that time is it went on an interesting journey that really drove me after a 30-year biotech executive career, GlaxoSmithKline, Novartis, Abbott, Regeneron, really decided my mantra of if you have the ability to act, you must do so. And I decided to leave pharma to actually address the problem that we're having in mental health. What happened with my daughter was, even though we were so connected to the healthcare system, my husband and I, we went through three clinicians that could not understand the clinical and social and communication challenges that Lauren faced. And and I sit on the American Association of People with Disability Executive Board for the last 4 years. And I went out and also tested, was this what other people with disabilities, cognition, mobility, hearing, vision, were they all facing the same thing? And over and over again, we heard that it was. So we know that for people with disabilities, even beyond that mental health right now, 60% of healthcare professionals cannot see one more patient. But what we do know is 98% of websites and apps are inaccessible to people with disability. We know that we're losing $2.5 trillion in global economic losses from mental health disorders. We also know that the American Psychological Association has reported that for people that they do not have clinicians experience with people with disabilities and may have unconscious bias, even though there's 75 million people in the United States that have a disability, one or more major life activity that they can't complete. That's 26%. That means somebody at everybody's dinner table. Okay, how does it look at like in Delaware? I am a Delawarean. I went to Springer Middle School, Brandywine High School, University of Delaware Grad School, and I decided after 30 years of being all over the country really in my career that I decided to bring it back home and really launch this company here in Delaware. And overall, demand versus supply, we actually have a 32% in the nation. Unfortunately, in this state of Delaware, we are only serving 12% of the need of actual mental health, the need versus the available clinicians. And so when I started looking into that, I said, what can we do to address this? Um, and so what we built, and in 2017, the FDA created a new category of how you can deliver healthcare, especially mental health care, to patients. And what you can do is you see Dr. Samantha Gaze up here in the left side. And Dr. Gaze, I can put her in a studio, and we're using King Creative Studio here in Delaware. And they've done all my video production and clinical videos. And what we do is we put her in as cognitive behavioral therapist, and people can actually view those videos anytime, anywhere. It's based on cognitive behavioral therapy. That's the gold standard. In of psychotherapy, and it's been tested over and over and as effective as pills and water, so as effective as Prozac, Zoloft, Luvox, or any of those other SSRIs that you may be familiar with. But what we realized in all the research is that while we can do that digitally and we can do those on demand and we can have people start today and not have, the long wait times, 2, 3, 4 months of any clinician that still does have availability, but we have to start people on care now. We don't wait. We don't tell anybody with cardiology issues, immunology, cancer issues, wait 2 to 3 months for care, and we shouldn't do it for mental health. So you can bring this digital delivery of Dr. Gaze, but we also know that human in the loop is really important. It's critically important. So we've actually developed a partnership with a nonprofit called Toivoa Coaching Academy. It's the one of 146 pro NBHC, National Board of Health and Wellness Coaching accredited coaching programs. We actually train coaches, and then we like to hire our own graduates to bring them on. Glassdoor puts the average coach salary at $78,000. We expect to hire 100 coaches in the next 2 years. And the beauty of this is that we're able to actually deliver, we're able to use the digital platform. People can, be trained virtually, and people can, work in Delaware, but cover the country. So we're really excited about that. So, we see a big growth opportunity not only to deliver mental health, and have access immediately, but we also know that, as they do a week of lessons with Dr. Gaze, they have a human in the loop. Every single week, they meet 30 minutes with a coach. And that human in the loop is really critical. We saw that in our clinical studies. We were supposed to have a 4-point reduction in anxiety and depression, and we had a 12-point reduction. People in the mental health career areas have not seen that kind of reduction significantly in many, many years. Um, and we're getting ready to actually, we've gone live. It's been in patients. We are actually now expanding our utilization into the VA and DoD with adoption into VA and DO clinics starting in 2026 in January. We're finalizing the contracts right now, so we're very excited about that. It is an app. You do download it from the App Store or from the Google Play Store. And a patient's experience is they will go through a week of lessons, an hour with Dr. Gaze. They'll have 30 minutes with their coach. They'll do animation exercises just to reinforce, to understand. So if they're learning how does activity affect their mood that drives anxiety, or different kinds of thought patterns are challenged, those are actually described in animation and very connection with the patient. We do evidence-based assessments. So everybody is doing, we're testing their anxiety and depression, and they're all doing homework, and there's mindful and exercises, relaxation. And in the 5 minutes, I'll just we have a really strong team, which has been expanded extensively beyond myself and my co-founder. That everybody has been in pharma for many years. I actually launched Dupixent, which was the third, tied with the top 3 products ever launched. It's slated to be an $18 billion drug. So all my team has been very experienced in drug device vaccines and delivery of launches, and been very successful with launching that. And so we know that, there's a huge need. There's a need that, as our patent actually is first mover status is stated, and we're in final discussions with the inspector on all the details in the patent claim. So we do know that we're first mover into this area. We really feel strongly that not only can we help the mental health community and really drive a huge gap for people with disabilities, including our military and our veterans, but we also can very much drive workforce development in the state of Delaware. And am I at 5 minutes?
You are actually over. I was just gonna
Okay.
So you are over time.
Okay, so let me stop.